Before there were cities, before there were maps, before there was even a word for it, there was a planet spinning in silence, and it was already alive. Not alive the way a dog is alive, or a tree, or a bacterium. Alive the way nothing else in the known universe has ever been alive, as a single, complete, self-correcting system. 4.5 billion years old and still running. We call it Earth. Science calls it something stranger. In 1972, a British scientist named James Lovelock looked at the atmosphere of this planet, its temperature, its chemistry, its behavior over millions of years, and noticed something that stopped him cold. The conditions on Earth are not just compatible with life, they are maintained by life. The planet doesn't simply allow living things to exist on it. The planet and its living things are one thing, regulating each other, correcting each other, keeping the whole system stable the way a body keeps itself alive. He called it the Gaia hypothesis. The scientific establishment called it fantasy. The data called it correct. Right now, deep beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, a river is moving, bigger than every freshwater river on Earth combined. It carries warm tropical water toward the poles, releases that heat into the atmosphere, then sinks cold and heavy to the bottom and crawls back toward the equator to be warmed again. It has been doing this without stopping for millions of years. Remove it, and Europe freezes. The tropics overheat. The planet's climate collapses inside a century. That is not a coincidence. That is a circulatory system. The Earth is not covered by an ocean. The Earth is using that ocean the way your body uses blood. Look at the sky. Those clouds you've never thought twice about. They are a thermostat. Too warm, evaporation rises, cloud cover thickens, sunlight reflects back into space, temperature drops. Too cold, clouds thin, radiation reaches the surface, warmth builds. The planet reads its own temperature and adjusts, constantly, automatically, without being asked. Your body does the same thing when it sweats, when it shivers, when it sends white blood cells toward a wound. Scientists have a word for a system that maintains its own internal stability against external pressure: homeostasis. That word belongs to Earth just as much as it belongs to you. And then there is the forest. A forest is not a collection of trees. It is a single organism wired together underground by fungal networks so vast and so intricate they have been called the Wood Wide Web. Trees share food through these networks. They warn each other of disease. A tree that is dying will pump its remaining sugar toward its neighbors before it falls. Not randomly, but toward the trees most likely to survive. The Amazon exhales enough oxygen every hour to sustain millions of lives. It pulls carbon from the sky, locks it into wood and root and soil, and releases moisture that forms the very clouds that bring rain back to the forest. It waters itself. It feeds itself. It is a lung, and like every lung, if you damage it past a certain point, everything downstream starts to suffocate. In 1980, a volcano in Washington state erupted with the force of 24,000 atomic bombs. It erased 230 square miles of forest in 4 minutes. The landscape that remained looked like the surface of another world. Gray, flat, total silence. Within weeks, the first flower pushed through the ash. Within years, insects returned. Then birds, then mammals, then forest. The Earth looked at a wound the size of a small country and healed it. Not quickly, but completely. Scientists call this ecological succession. Watch it happen in time lapse, and you won't call it that. You'll call it exactly what it looks like, a body closing a scar. But here is the part that should make you pause. Every living system has a threshold. Every body, no matter how resilient, has a point past which its self-regulating mechanisms don't slow down. They break. And when they break, they don't find a quiet new equilibrium. They swing. They overcorrect. They enter states they have never been in before. Earth has been in those states before. Ice ages, mass extinctions, periods when the oceans turned acid and 90% of all species vanished. The planet survived every time. The planet always survives. It is 4.5 billion years old, and it will likely outlast everything we have ever built. But the life riding on its surface, the life that depends on the very systems we are now destabilizing, that is a different story. Lovelock spent decades being dismissed. He died in 2022 at 103 years old, long enough to watch the world slowly come around. What he understood, and what the data keeps confirming, is this: you are not visiting this planet. You are not a passenger on it. You are a cell inside it. One small, conscious, improbable cell inside an organism older than imagination. The rain is the breath of forests. The ocean current is the pulse of the planet. The temperature you feel today is the result of systems so ancient and so interlocked that they make our entire civilization look like a single afternoon. Earth is not the stage. Earth is the story. And right now, for the first time in 4.5 billion years, one of its cells has become aware enough to ask what happens if it stops listening.